But Martin O'Fire there, the key man. Good break by Darren Wright. O'Fire's support was terrific. And Andy Currier running in his 8th try of the season. Widnes all over it.
I'd love to see a seasonal count on Widnes tries. I reckon 50% of them must come from scrums, where these people with speed get one-on-one, and they are so quick to follow up in support. There's some great play there, some intelligent support, and O'Fire's pass might not be out of the textbook, but it's effective.
Currier in for the try. It gives Widnes a 6-2 lead. Very little you can do once the initial break has been made, because Widnes have got not only so much speed, Brian, but each of these players has got an appetite for scoring points.
Yeah, they're very alert to get to somewhere where the ball's going to be in a space. And that's a great attribute in any player, in any sport.
Well, Currier scored the try. And Andy Currier now has a chance to improve it. Good kick. And Widnes ease into a 6-point lead. 8-2 in favour of the defending champions.
I think some of the Castleford forwards will be disappointed with the defence here of the backs. And here's where we see the support, intelligent support. O'Fire noticing that he couldn't push through on the left, coming back to the right, and then again alert to find support on the right even further. That's a great try.
Got a terrific view of the alertness in Martin O'Fire's eyes there, and he was caught by the tackle. Suddenly he seemed to have looked in 4 or 5 different directions at once and sniffed out the support. And another great break here by Mike O'Neill, and Widnes are clear with Kurt Sorensen this time, the supporting player. He's got plenty of pace around him. Martin O'Fire's up there, and that's the easiest try he'll score this season. 2 tries in as many minutes. This time set up by the big man, O'Neill and Sorensen. Martin O'Fire, I don't know if he's just a little breathless, but that's his 30th try of another astonishing season. And a walk-in by his standards.
We spoke about some weak defence by the backs, but there's some terrible defence by the forwards, coming straight through the middle of the ruck. And again, good support. Larder had not a chance. Sorensen is showing just how big and burly he is, but even when he's out of petrol, there's that man. And I think Martin O'Fire's out of petrol after making 2 great long runs, but he had enough to get there. All that pressure that Castleford had locked up in them has all just completely evaporated. They just blew it out.
Why did Kurt pass here? He's got comfortably enough speed to move away from that winger, hasn't he?
He's scored enough tries. Give him to Martin.
Well, that's 127 tries for Widnes. He's only been here 5 minutes. Astonishing man. Plenty of care and attention given to that, but it drifts wide of the right-hand post. 12-2. Widnes lead. Tries from Andy Currier, now Martin O'Fire in as many minutes. We've had 26 minutes of the first half. And having survived a pretty rousing start by Castleford, Widnes' speed and class has shown through in the last few moments. And they now have a real grip of the game. It's a rash man who dismisses their title effort with 11 games still to go, particularly with their 2 matches against Wigan still to come on Rugby League Live in February and March. Dougie will be looking forward to those. You may recall they'd lost 3 in a row going into the Castleford fixture that we screened from Norton Park back in November, but they pulled themselves round then. Always at their most dangerous when people start to doubt them, Widnes. Here's Fred Lindop again.
The poor defensive effort of Castleford is reflected in the chart where Widnes, in fact, have made 6 clean butts to only 1 from Castleford. This is why possibly they're in the league.
Castleford needing to find those gaps and make some breaks now. With Keith England in possession. Widnes didn't hit the front in the championship race until the end of March last year, when Castleford themselves dropped out of the sky. And they firmly believe at Norton Park that Wigan are due a sticky patch. A lot of respect for what John Money's done there this season. Wigan are on a fantastic run, and Widnes are just hoping to get a little bit more pressure on them. (12-2) Widnes lead. And here's David Hugh. Good tackle by his opposite number, Gary French. Fire. Picked up well by Ayres. On goes Alan Tate. Support from John Devereux. Pass 1, pass 2. Oh, and the third just caught him. It was Hardy who made the important tackle. Devereux up to within a pace of the line. Phil Mackenzie. Support from David Hugh. Support from Paul Hugh. And the brothers combine to score yet another try for Widnes. It's crisp and incisive stuff, and Castleford haven't got an answer to it. A family affair, created by David Hugh and scored by Paul Hugh.
The lead-up work again done here by the backs from a scrum and a nice break down this right-hand side. Mackenzie getting his arms free. Once they get in this mood, they're ruthless. That's good support, great support.
Good work by Devereux to carry them to within view of the line. There's David Hugh, who was very wide of Mackenzie for a moment, but readjusted his position in order to receive the pass and then slip his brother in. Interesting half-back combination that Doug Lawton has employed again today. The Hume brothers were together at the pivot part of the team for a very good cup run that Widnes had last season, and Doug Lawton has entrusted them with that 6 and 7 shirts again today. Half an hour gone. Andy Currier with a chance, fairly simple chance to improve, which he's flopped. The Widnes are now 2 full scores in front, 16 points to 2. And Currier has played his part. The back division looking very impressive at the moment. Doug Lawton's down on the touchline. Doug Castleford started the game quite well, but a little bit of class and speed has made all the difference in the last 5 minutes.
He needs to keep it up though, because Cass can go the length of the field as well. But I've been pleased the way things have gone so far.
Yes, it's a much different Castleford side than I saw at St Helens last week. They're defending very well, but those 3 crucial breaks that you've made, they've all finished up with tries.
Yeah, they've gone well, and here we come again.
Kurt Sorensen trying to get free. Martin O'Fire snapping the ball up. Kick by Tate. Won't be too pleased with that. Right down Steve Larder's throat. Submission. Saw David Hume and just fell at his feet. Chapman trying to get into the game. It's Kevin Ward again. Haven't seen him for a while. The ball was almost out of his grasp again there. Phil Mackenzie just inquiring. Thought it might have gone forward. Sampson. Beardmore. Larder. Real opportunist, Steve Larder, the Castleford fullback. 18 tries this season. Only 4 players in the game have scored more so far. Here's one of them, Martin O'Fire. Alan Tate. And Fire's there in support again. I thought for a moment Tate wasn't going to need him. O'Neill. John Devereux. Good strong play by Tony Myler. Testimonial season. Widnes. Alan Tate. That's a good kick too, in behind Darren Price. Once they get on top, Widnes, Brian, they've got a real element of control, almost arrogance about them, haven't they?
But once they start to get that confidence about them and they find space like they're finding now, because Castleford just haven't kept up that intensity. They started off with all those gang tackles, that intimidation by their strength in their tackle. That's gone, and if you start to show Widnes that sort of space and without that sort of intimidation, man, they can do whatever they like.
They lead by 16 points to 2. And every time they see a chink of light in the Castleford defence, you feel as though they've got men capable of going through it. Crooks. Hardy. Seen plenty of the ball league, Crooks. Darabelleveld looks a little less happy than he did when we spoke to him 10 minutes before the game. It's so frustrating. Once they cross the white line, there isn't much you can do. No matter how stirring and detailed an address you deliver prior to the game, they're out of your hands once they're on the pitch. Grimmer. Myler's kick. Oh, it's a beauty. Inch perfect. Such a resilient player, Tony Myler. He's had such terrible injury problems. I say refuses to wear the number 13 shirt that a loose forward should wear, not specifically because of that number, but because he's picked up 2 serious injuries each of the last 2 occasions that he's worn 13.
Wonder how that sits with our rugby league hierarchy, who've told all the clubs that they must wear the number that players are playing in as they're selected.
Well, I won't tell them if you won't.
I promise I won't. I mean, just on that point, I mean, I couldn't give a damn. I know who Tony Myler is, and I can read in the program that he's number 12. I reckon everyone else can.
Kevin Ward making himself known. He's lost the ball again. It's been a performance of the heart rather than the head, really, by Kevin Ward. He's played with great courage and great determination, but he's lost concentration at crucial times. You just can't keep coughing the ball up to Widnes. They've got too many players who know what to do with it. 4 minutes of the first half remaining. Widnes leading by 16 points to 2 and in possession. Paul Hume and Tony Myler trying to work some space from Mike O'Neill. Mackenzie. Joyner dropping on it. Steve Larder. Support was a bit half-hearted there for him. Lee Crooks. Keith England. Here's Kevin Ward again. Penalty given against Grimmer that time. And Lee Crooks, I think, will go for goal. Young Neil Batty, the Castleford substitute, bringing on the Sandcastle. Crooks, who was on a winning side against Widnes just 3 weeks ago with his former club Leeds. Impressive Leeds performance that too at Norton Park. So a chance to get Castleford back within 12 points. And he's done it. And that's quite a crucial deficit in rugby league. 2 scores, of course. Not enough to bring a smile just yet. Castleford a little punch-drunk by that burst of Widnes scoring. Currier, O'Fire and Paul Hume with the 3 scores which give Widnes that advantage. 16-4. Last minute and a half of the first half. A long way to the Widnes line from there. Darren Price. Ian Braga. England tackled by Wright. Oh, French looking where he was going before he had it. Widnes have got the ball. And another score here in the last minute or so of the half really could kill the game off. Richie Ayres. Good, strong, underrated player. Oh, praised him a little bit too early. Beardmore stole it from him. And here's Chris Chapman. Didn't change my opinion of Ayres as a player, but he'll be disappointed about that. French. England out wide. Now Ian Braga. Now a little bit of space for Darren Price. Oh, he's got past Darren Wright this time. Still 2 more back there. David Hume's on his backside. Play's been brought back anyway. That's disappointment for you. All that exertion, all that energy. And there's a scrum 15 yards inside the Castleford half of the field.
Castleford will be very disappointed there because that was a great chance for them to get back in the game. But I agree with Mr. Kershaw again. I think he was spot on.
Not sure he agreed.
Castleford showed a bit of spirit there because despite their disappointments, they came up with a great push in that scrum against the feed. Gives them a last-ditch chance here just before half-time.
Yeah, we're playing stoppage time though in the first half. Dean Sampson. Kevin Ward again. Need to get it away for a moment. Crooks. Good ball. Larder popping up again. Rimmer and Sorensen doing the necessary. John Joyner working the blind side. Widnes have got some defending to do here. Lee Crooks. 5 tackles though. Gary French, the little kick. Alan Tate, comfortable. Drop out from under the post. So Castleford will at least get the ball back.
Good set of 6. It shows they haven't given up altogether, Clive. I was a bit concerned that they might have given up the ghost, but they really showed some life there. Lee Crooks was the one. He's the one who was showing the spark.
Currier taking his time. Now be mindful of the fact that the clock is ticking round to the half-time orange. And Widnes have survived that. Little Castleford come back in the closing minutes of the half. A couple of penalties from Lee Crooks, all that the home team have to show for their efforts. Whereas Widnes, with a dramatic burst of scoring, tries from Currier, O'Fire and Paul Hume, have established a 16-4 lead.
Welcome back. Widnes leading by 16 points to 4 here at Weldon Road at half-time. Tries from Andy Currier, Martin O'Fire and Paul Hume. We're live in the dressing room again. A happy dressing room, no doubt. Don't adjust your sets. If we left the volume up, Mary Whitehouse might be onto us, but Widnes know they can't afford any slips, even at this stage, if they're to stay in touch with Wigan at the top of the table. Well, time to join Brian Smith again. Brian, I'd imagine Doug Lawton will be a pretty happy man at this stage of the game.
Well, all that pressure that Castleford put on the Widnes team early on that was showing some dividends just got blown away with the power and pace that we all know that Widnes have got.
Well, there are 3 tries and a couple of near misses in that first half. Why don't you describe them to us?
Well, I thought early on, as I said, Castleford put a lot of defensive pressure on, but they also had a great chance to score here. Kevin Ward made a good break straight through Sorensen, and there's Beardmore, was very busy early, great support, but they just couldn't quite get there. Really needed that try to show something for all the pressure that they've had on. And then here we go, Widnes from a scrum. It's red light time when on scrums. There's Darren Wright. And look at the support that comes here. He knows there's support, and a fire shows a brain as well as feet to get himself into the clear, and then when it's all dead to find another player. And that's just so easy. How many times have we seen Widnes blow a team apart with a try like that? And then we see that they can also come through the middle. A good little set piece, a nice work play between Mackenzie and Ayres and O'Neill, I should say. And O'Neill finds, again, bags of support. Here he is, veteran Kurt Sorensen, and look at the knee lift. I reckon he could have made it perhaps, but why not? If you got a fire's legs in your team, why not use them? And then this was just oh so easy. Look at Mackenzie's balance and footwork, and his arms are free. He's not tackled. He is tackled, but the ball's alive, and then the support's there, the Uga Beaver brothers.
The Rugby League controller referees, Fred Lidnop, has been getting to grips with the computers to monitor that first half. Fred, what have you got for us?
Well, I think in a disciplined performance by both teams up to the break, you can see that the vital number of breaks, or bursts as people like to call them nowadays, has created the lead for Widnes at half-time. You can see that there's 9 clean breaks, and Widnes have supported these breaks to create the tries, to Castleford's only 2. Okay. Both teams have tackled tremendously hard, virtually 115 tackles each. So defensively they've both worked very hard, but the breaks have been vital.
Thanks very much, Fred. We'll hear more from Fred later. Let me remind you that Widnes are leading Castleford by 16 points to 4. We'll have the second.
Welcome back to Weldon Road. Widnes leading Castleford by 16 points to 4 in this vital championship match. And Castleford to restart. Martin O'Fire, one of the Widnes try scorers, as he has been on each of his 4 visits now to Weldon Road. He really loves this particular little plot of Yorkshire. And already halfway to last season's astonishing total of 60 tries. Joe Grimmer, Widnes having met with some resistance in the closing minutes of the first half of the match, will be keen to reassert themselves in that way they did in that dramatic period midway through the first, when Andy Currier, Martin O'Fire and Paul Hume scored tries in a 5-minute period. Ian Braga. Don't forget, the player who receives the ball from a kick ahead like that is to be allowed 5 yards of grace by the pursuing defenders before they can tackle him. Otherwise they'd be deemed to be offside. Widnes wouldn't pretend to be the most popular visitors to Weldon Road. They've won their last 6 matches against Castleford, averaging more than 30 points a time. And they had 2 key wins on this ground in Cup and League last season. But Ward's got Beardmore in here, and a good tackle by Alan Tate. 5 tackles. Joined in a French. The long looping ball looking for Braga, which he left, and which Price couldn't collect. 6th tackle desperation. Widnes, don't forget, without the services of Jonathan Davis today. There he is, looking less than comfortable. I think you'd be able to afford a better seat than that, wouldn't you? Derek Pike on a the most experienced Widnes forward. He's had an operation on his arm this week. He's going to be out for a while, but as I was saying a little earlier, Mossy Calota's on the way back. And Davis has a hamstring problem, which will be examined at the National Sports Rehabilitation Centre down at Lilleshall next week, in the hope that he'll be fit for the forthcoming Challenge Cup campaign and the 2 big championship crunch matches with Wigan. Takes long clearance, fumbled by Price, reclaimed by Wright, who's allowed to go on almost unopposed and get Martin O'Fire in for yet another try against Castleford. And that was tame defence. Opportunism by O'Fire, which you take for granted. But he'll score tries against Castleford all day long if they treat him with that kind of respect.
Castleford again did well defensively. They put some pressure on Tate, and this ball just got over the halfway line. They'd done their job, but young Price, I mean, the Price was all wrong. He not only knocked it on, but he then didn't go in and make the tackle on him. You just can't show them that sort of room. That's kid stuff.
Martin O'Fire showing suitable gratitude. 20 points to 4. O'Fire's second of the afternoon. Amazing thing about O'Fire is that he wasn't even a first 15 player really with Roslyn Park when Doug Lawton unearthed him. Goodness knows how everybody else missed him. Andy Currier looking to improve it. Wide of the mark. And Doug Lawton actually plucked O'Fire out of the second and third 15s of Roslyn Park Rugby Union. He was a better cricketer in many ways. He played for Essex seconds. But his rare appearances for the senior Roslyn Park side alerted Lawton and his scouting network. And next thing, one of the stars of the world game emerged in Widnes colours. Widnes colours flying proudly at Weldon Road this afternoon, leading by 20 points to 4. And they could really open up and give us an exhibition now. This could be well worth watching. You feel as though they've all but got the game won now and got themselves back into the winning ways that they had to find very quickly. Although that was a bit sloppy. That wasn't though, was it? That's not too shabby, is it, from Alan Tate? Bit of pressure on Kevin Ward now. Hello.
This is really character time for Cass now. I agree, Clive. I think the game's probably pretty well gone. It'll take some sort of turnaround, but I don't think the result is what is important to Cass. I think what we should look for is see if we can find. I'm sure Darryl Vandervelde will. He'll be looking to see which player will play with some guts when the score's down like this, when everything's against you. And not just a one-off effort, but consistently throughout the next 35 minutes.
He actually passes a piece of paper around to each player at the end of the match and asks them to fill in the names of the players they felt gave their all for Cass on the day and those that didn't. You'd actually have to fill your own name in at the top. It's a secret ballot. But if you don't get too many votes from your teammates, then really you deserve an earful from the coach. Well, they've got a penalty here. They need more than 2. Samson going on. Sorensen penalised.
Wouldn't have been for a high tackle, would it?
No. I'll tell him. Here's Kevin Ward. Widnes a bit of defending to do. Castleford trying to stretch that defence, but there's no real purpose about their attack at the moment. Oh, a little bit desperate. Here's Jeff Hardy. Taken by his fellow countryman Phil McKenzie. French to Crooks. Samson was running off him, but Crooks held on. Widnes done a good job. You can almost join in the defence from here. French. Well collected by Tate.